So my name is Frank Spencer. I'm president of Aztec Contractors. I was born and raised in Pecos, Texas, which is a small town east of El Paso. I graduated from New Mexico Military Institute, so I left home at a fairly young age. I was actually a junior when I started at the Institute. Went to high school there, played football there at the Institute, got to represent the United States in Australia and Hawaii. Came back, decided that I wasn't going to be a football player, and I decided to stick to school, and I ended up graduating from Texas A&M University. After Texas A&M, I was working in the mortgage industry in San Antonio, Texas, and then got promoted to assistant manager of a branch in Albuquerque, and then got promoted to manager of a branch here in El Paso, and that's kind of what brought me back to El Paso. My wife's name is Monica. We've been married 4 years, and we have a 3-year-old son. His name is, we call him Panchito, but his full name is Frank Spencer IV, so he's a 7th generation Spencer. He has his hard hat, he has this little construction table with his little tools, bolts, but he's all about PJ Masks is a huge hit. I mean, we don't watch TV anymore. It's all PJ Masks and Sesame Street, and yeah, so it's definitely changed our lives, but it's been a great change. Aztec was owned previously by my father back in the 1980s, actually 89, and so my father was doing primarily construction work in the Pecos, Trans-Pecos area. And in 2006, actually it was around Thanksgiving time, spoke to my father, and I wanted to do a change in the industry that I was in, and he was also wanting to get into construction. So I purchased a company from my father in 2006, and we started with our first project in 2007, which was a condominium project, and that's where he was involved from the standpoint of one of the many investors that was on that project. A lot of things that were done when I purchased Aztec was I decided to do a year-long program called eMyth, and it really, throughout that year, it really got me to understand the reasons why I wanted to go into business, why I had taken over this company, and helped me outline a vision, a purpose, and a plan as to how we were going to move the company forward. And so I think that with that, we started implementing a lot of systems, or the beginning stages of implementing systems on how the company was going to operate. Reliable, predictable, and consistent. Getting the business off on the right start is the implementation of those systems. Or at least thinking about how the company should operate in order to give those consistent results. Yeah, no, Aztec, we started doing multifamily type projects, and in 2009, we received our certification to work with our 8A certification, and that is a certification that allows us to work with the federal government. We were also a small disadvantaged business. We were minority business enterprise. We were state hub certified, and we're also now a federal hub zone. And so these certifications sort of helped us put ourselves in a position to do work with the federal government that otherwise we wouldn't have had the opportunity. And through the SBA, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, they were very influential in helping us attain these certifications. And at that point, it really put us in a different field, because not only were we doing multifamily work for local agencies such as the Housing Authority of the City of El Paso, but we were doing work for the City of El Paso, but now we were doing work with the federal government. But that came with its own set of nuances. I mean, it took us over 3 years to really start doing work with the feds. And it was a pretty crucial and point in our business to where we had to prove ourselves to a lot of different clients, and so the bar was set pretty high when we started doing federal contract work. after 3 years of going out there and knocking on doors and doing capability presentations for anybody who would listen to me, we had our first opportunity out of the Fort Worth district with GSA. And that project was in Homestead, Florida. And I'm sitting in El Paso, Texas, and I get the call about a project that we were going to get sole sourced, and get it in my email. I open it up and I see Homestead, Florida. And I'm thinking, how are we going to do this job in Homestead, Florida? And so quickly thereafter, once we reviewed the project, I decided, again, it was an opportunity. And so we took the job. We didn't make any money, but we didn't lose money. And we did a good job. About 6 months after that project was complete, we got another job from the same client for a project 3 times that size here in El Paso. So that one's memorable in the sense that we took advantage of an opportunity, and with its own set of, like I said, nuances in terms of being in Homestead, Florida, not knowing anybody. It's a very isolated area, but I look at that as the starting point, and that's sort of kind of been our mantras. And with all the clients that we've had an opportunity to work with, it's just that, asking them, give us a chance, let us prove ourselves, and taking advantage of that opportunity. The other job that I think that is very significant to me is the job order contract that we did on Fort Bliss. So what this was is a multi-year contract with the Corps of Engineers to do all of the construction, rehabilitation, and maintenance of all structures and facilities on Fort Bliss. And we're the sole contract holder. And so this was around 2013 when we were awarded this project. And so as talking about how difficult it was to get a start of doing work with the government, the one thing that they kept shutting their doors on me was that we didn't have past performance. And so that job order contract was awarded to us primarily on our past performance and price. But the reason I'm so proud of that job was that all the work that we had done leading up to that proposal or that project was all merited on our own past performance. And I think it had been 10 or 12 years since a local contractor had been awarded that contract. So I was very, very proud to be a part of that contract. And we put in a lot of time to stay on top of it to ensure that we didn't let down this community in terms of demonstrating to the Fort Worth district and our local subcontracting community, our vendors and suppliers, that we do have great contractors and great suppliers, vendors, and subcontractor community that we can perform. In contracting, there is a lot of problems, especially in construction. I mean, every day there's a new obstacle that you have to overcome. And I think that part of what has been the leading source of overcoming those obstacles for us has been the communication. Everything that we run, the way we operate this business is a very team-oriented method. We work as a unit. Everybody is a spoke in the wheel. We all have certain roles that we have to cover. And so with our clients, especially in construction or contract work, you have to keep everybody informed as you're moving along. And so, weekly meetings, updates, and holding everybody accountable. We hold ourselves accountable, but we also have to hold our clients accountable. In construction, you got a lot of hands in the cookie jar. So being able to manage all of that and, what we call managing expectations. And as long as we're able to do that and communicate those and talk through it and plan, that to me has been a huge success for us and how we have operated thus far. Last month, we received the Small Businessman of the Year from a large chamber through TAMAC, Texas Association of Mexican American Chamber of Commerce. That award was presented to us in San Marcos, Texas. Super thrilled to have gotten that award. And this is for the state of Texas. So it was a huge, huge honor to have received that award. The business in itself, in terms of the revenues that have been achieved throughout the year, They ask questions, for example, how many employees we've had, the different types of contracts that we've been a part of. And again, as I mentioned in the article, this is not done by myself. This is done by a team. And again, everything that we do, we approach it from a team aspect. Everybody has an important role, and as long as everybody's covering down, you're going to have successes. You're gonna do great things. At the same token, though, in the last 13 years that we've been in business, we've made a lot of mistakes, and so those mistakes, and I look at them as part of the learning curve. And I think that every business goes into certain parts of certain stages that you have to go through in order to kind of continue that upward growth. And then you'll have those setbacks, but it's kind of learning from those setbacks and making the changes necessary to do better is where I think that for me, those have been eye-opening experiences. Part of what we have to do is provide a performance and payment bond, and it's all based off of capital, liquidity that the company has. And for us just getting started, that was hard because we didn't have it. And so I think that number one, that was a huge obstacle that we had to overcome. The other thing that we had to overcome is that it took us 6 years to get a local bank to bank us. Our hometown bank in Pecos was banking us for the first 6 years of being in operation. So we've dealt with a lot of different obstacles in trying to get this company started. But like I said, each of those has sort of made us who we are today. Going back to not being able to get an opportunity to work with the government because we didn't have past performance. They kept saying, well, you don't have past performance. Well, we overcame that one as well. So now we do work with the Army, Navy, Air Force, Department of Homeland Security, Customs and Border Protection, Corps of Engineers, I said the Air Force. And most recently, I think the next, best thing that has happened is, we have a lot of bond money that has been passed, and we have the quality of life bonds, we have the school bonds, and we've been able to participate on some of those bond programs. And to me, really proud of that because we've been able to keep that work local. All of our subcontractors, all of our vendors and suppliers are locally owned businesses. A lot of small businesses, woman-owned businesses, service-disabled veteran-owned businesses. That to me is something that I'm really proud of. And now we're doing work with the school districts, and we've just expanded our clientele, and so it's a good feeling. Anybody that has been in business, in some point in their life, they've had somebody that has been there to help guide and assist them. The first one I can name is my father. Again, his mentorship comes with a little bit of tough love. It was a different form of mentorship, but it was one that I'm glad and I'm very appreciative that getting started. I had to pay him rent. I didn't have any money at the time, and he was requiring me to pay for everything that we were using in his office. I got charged for using his accountant, and at the time I was kind of like, well, why are you being so hard? Why? I need help. But looking back now, to me that was probably one of the best lessons he could have taught me, because now you learn how to appreciate those things. You know how to appreciate hard work, not having, learning how to work on a budget. And so, my father was a huge mentor. I was involved with a lot of different organizations here throughout the last 10 years, and I found several mentors in a lot of the organizations that I've been a part of. CEA, Comunidad en Acción, was a big, several individuals there were huge mentors. I've had friends that stepped up, when I first got started, that I also looked at as mentors. Individuals that worked for me have also been sources of mentorship for me. And like I said, every business has stages of growth, and we've had a lot of people come and go, but you take away something from each of those individuals that you've had an opportunity to work with. And for me, the biggest, I guess, takeaway, or the biggest feel-good moment, is that as people have come and worked with us and have gone and either started their own business or working for other companies, I think that there's a lot of great takeaways that they have from being a part of this team. And to me, that's one of those win moments, when you're able to impact somebody's life. I would say that hold true to a vision, have a plan, have a vision of what it is that you want to do, and stay true to it. There's going to be things that are going to come at you that you're not expecting. Surround yourselves by positive people. You got to have a lot of grit, and you got to be able to hold when everything around you looks like it's fallen. Have faith is another big thing. Is if anything else, hold on to something that some faith. Along the lines of surrounding yourself by positive people that are pushing you to pursue or to pursue the ideas that you have in mind. Again, if it's a startup business, one is to continue to surround yourself by those people. Find other people that they might know of to go, pitch your idea about. Get as much play as you can in terms of what it is that you have. Spark that idea of what it is that you're trying to achieve. I think the other thing too is to get involved with either your local, the El Paso Chamber of Commerce. Get involved in the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Try to network as much as you can to, again, find those individuals, those organizations that will help mentor and nurture this idea that essentially you're trying to create. Yeah, they're out there. It's just, I think, another caveat to that would be is that as an individual, when you commit, when you decide that this is something that you want to do, you have to, you gotta want it. You gotta truly want it, and know that, you're gonna go through everything to get to this place that you want to be. And I think that will resonate with the people that are helping you, because they're gonna see that. And you have to know that, you have to stand behind what you're putting out there. Geographically, we're able to hit, so we're out there doing work and promoting our company. We have an office in San Marcos, California. That's another thing I failed to mention, that we have a regional contract with the Navy. So for several years, we were I would always consider ourselves to be that border go-to contractor, because everything from Southern California all the way down to South Texas, we have that reach. We have that strategic footprint to be able to do work in these areas. So because of how we're located, again, everything along the border, Southern California, Arizona, New Mexico, into West Texas was sort of our playground, our play area. And so we would not shy away from doing work out in these areas. So, and for me, El Paso, it's a big city, but it's not. It has that small town feel. Being from a small town, I think that there's a lot of great things that made me the way I am now because of growing up in a small town. And I feel like, El Paso has embraced us, embraced me. I see a lot of great things that are happening. It's a great time to be in construction. Everywhere we're going, they have construction going on. So I just think that El Paso has come a long, long ways. And I think that, with all of the new developments that are happening downtown, with all of the quality of life bonds, the school bonds, this is an exciting time for us. And I see a lot of great opportunities for a lot of those young professionals that are soon to get out of school. They have a place here, and I think that El Paso is one of those places that truly embraces the young entrepreneur. I've done a lot of traveling in my life, and you don't find friendlier people than El Paso. I think that go along the same lines of how this city embraces young entrepreneurs, the changes, the new ideas. That excites me. to see the change, the movement in that direction to revitalize different areas of El Paso. Not just, I'm not talking from structures, but I'm talking about just business in itself. I think that there's a tremendous amount of opportunities here, and now I see El Paso's embracing that, and I think that's great. Right now, we have a lot of students that are working doing internships or part-time. Again, we do a lot of outreach to the local UTEP, to EPCC, and the other colleges here. And I think that, one thing that we have here is a mentorship program where, again, we take these students that again have shown an interest in getting into construction or engineering, and we kind of put them in situations to get them to get a true picture for what this industry is like, and kind of really trying to grow from within, because we have a lot of great local talent, especially UTEP, and so I think that we definitely want to be a part of giving those opportunities, or giving that outlet for these students to know that they can come and have an opportunity to explore what they're thinking. Our website is azteccontractors.com. Phone number here at the office is 915-577-9685.